Hey, welcome back. I hope everybody's having a great Sunday, and thank you so much for joining me talking all things Masters of the Universe. Today on our channel, guys, we'll be doing part 2 of the history and the different styles of He-Man and Skeletor through MasterVerse. And part 1, we do a little recap. We looked at the 80s, for me personally, the 2-pack 80s version of He-Man and Skeletor. Right there. Alright. Then we looked at, on the channel yesterday, we looked at the version of the 80s movie version, the 87 movie version of He-Man and Skeletor, right there. Really cool figures there. Of course, I wish, we could have, as collectors, have gotten that Dolph Lundgren, look-alike, face sculpt, but unfortunately that did not happen. But still two iconic versions of these two amazing movie versions of He-Man and Skeletor. All right. Then we looked at through the timeline, through the cartoon, life. We looked at the New Adventures of He-Man style and his foe, or the bad guy of Skeletor, and the New Adventures of He-Man right there. They're both styles right there. More of that space-based look, and you can see the differences throughout these. As the timeline has gone, the different versions of these two iconic figures here, Alright. Then we ended yesterday's video with the two versions of He-Man Skeletor that kind of predates everything, in my eyes, okay, which is that Barbarian version of Skeletor and the Viking New Eternia version of He-Man, okay? So two very cool looking different styles, of these two iconic figures here. Alright, but very cool. Alright, now on to part 2. Now the next two figures, now of course we could not do 2000X, as you know, because there is no 2000X versions yet of MasterVerse. Now if they want to do like a 2000X like anniversary, they can always do that, and I'll be down to get those versions in MasterVerse, like a 2-pack, like the 2-pack right here. I think that would be very cool. Okay, to get a 2000X version of He-Man and Skeletor, and the pack can have the snake armor for both versions. Very cool. Also, well, I'll tell you that later. But so the next two figures in the timeline, which I have only one loose in the collection, and I only have that version of Skeletor and not He-Man, unfortunately, is the first appearance in Revelation. So let's do Skeletor first, right there. So here's Skeletor. Let me go ahead and turn this back off. So this version of Skeletor, and I gotta say, out of all the MasterVerse figures so far that represents He-Man and Skeletor, for me personally, I think these are the weakest out of the whole entire set or series we're doing. I don't know, I just never liked the look of this Skeletor and He-Man for some reason. But I do have a loose version of this Skeletor, but I don't have a loose version of He-Man. It's one of those things where I thought I had all the time in the world. You gotta remember, in this time set, we had, with Wave 1, you had like MasterVerse, you had CGI, and you had, in Origins. So you had He-Man was coming back in a big way for us collectors. And to try to, get every version of He-Man you can get, it was hard, So I told myself, I have plenty of time, and I still have plenty of time. I can always go back online to get my second version of this He-Man, which I'm going to show you right now. Right here. Hang on, guys. This version of He-Man right here. This, like, the first wave He-Man right here from the Revelation show. I still need a loose version of him, and I can still always get another version of this He-Man. But I never liked this He-Man. I don't know why. I don't know if it's the face sculpt or what about this version. I don't know. There's something about it I just don't like. I don't know. But but I still need a loose version of him, and I can always, go online and probably buy right now at this time frame right now today. I could probably get him at a discount price. But there's the look of He-Man and Skeletor from the Revelation show right there. His Wave 1 version. Okay. Now moving on to the time frame. And of course, in the Revelation show, we got this version of Skeletor, his Skele-God version, where he, of course, he watched the show, uses the power sword to, create this, this giant, version of himself with the power of Grayskull. And then we got this version of He-Man, this savage He-Man right here. And this is the version of He-Man where he calls down the power of Grayskull without the power sword to control and purify and channel, the power down to him. So it's all rage and anger, a very different take. You know what? And another thing I just realized, it would have been nice to have that He-Man right here, more like have a more bulky, because I think I remember in the cartoon he had more of a wider frame, almost like a gorilla, like an ape, a very oversized, beast of a He-Man. And this version here, I don't think it represents that. But there is but there you go. There is the look and the timeline of He-Man, Savage He-Man, and Skele-God. All right, and the Revelation show. All right. Now to the next two He-Mans, He-Man Skeletor. I'm going to say that. Sorry, was from the CGI show. Okay, and we have these two versions. Of course, a different take, of Skeletor from the CGI Netflix show. Another Netflix show that unfortunately is now done, but you can see the styles through all the versions of He-Man Skeletor. With this version you have a big wider frame. Like you see the frame right here. Pause right. You see the frame. With the Savage He-Man right here. Like I just remember the frame rate. The frame from shoulder to shoulder in that Revelation show of this Savage He-Man being this like style. And I think it would have been a nice if we would have gotten that version of that big bulky beastly He-Man in this version right here. That's what I'm talking about. But we are looking at CGI, but still cool. The smaller head frames, and the big wide shoulders. Of course, a different take on He-Man, more kid friendly. For the new generation of collectors, a different take on He-Man, of course. In this particular world, it was a lot of fun to watch. But you can see the different styles, of He-Man and Skeletor here. From this version of the CGI line, okay, over anything else. And of course, I think I mentioned this, and I think in the new Revolution show, and I don't remember the name of He-Man once he helps Teela, recreate Eternia in the Revolution show. He transforms into that other version of himself with the white, and I think they paid tribute. I think I think the Revolution show pays tribute to the CGI line with this symbol here. I think that same symbol is shown on He-Man, and I hope we get that He-Man as well in the MasterVerse line. He has that same S symbol on his chest plate here. I hope I hope I can't remember the name of that particular He-Man, but I know the scene. Where Teela needs more power to recreate Eternia, and so He-Man helps out with the power of Grayskull with his sword, and they both transform in together to this god mode here of He-Man and Teela, and I just remember that symbol on that He-Man from the Revolution show, same as this version right here so it was a nice touch that the Revolution show, paid tribute to the CGI line from Netflix. All right, but two really cool looking versions of He-Man and Skeletor. All right. Now, we did get, a couple other versions of He-Man and Skeletor. One is the Thunder Punch version of He-Man. But yet, we have not gotten, anything like a Dragon Blast Skeletor, or even like a Flying Fist He-Man, or a Terraclaw Skeletor for MasterVerse. Hey, but I'm always down for some great figures. And hopefully, we will eventually, like the 2000X line, get those versions of He-Man and Skeletor. All right. Now, there's also a Skeletor that we got in Revelation, like a flashback Skeletor, where he first becomes a member of the Horde. And this version of Skeletor right here. And I gotta say, one of my favorite versions of Skeletor. I love the look. I love the red Havoc staff right here. The nice, dry, soft, good cape and hood. Everything about the Skeletor looks absolutely amazing. All right. It would have been kind of nice to have a skeleton, maybe like a Rand. Well, I guess not Randor, because this is a very young, first time, being, Skeletor here, and it would be kind of nice to have a He-Man to go with this, But of course, in this time frame, it's more about, I think He-Man is too young and that has not received the power yet of Grayskull, but still an amazing, horde version of Skeletor. I love the look of him, and for the most part, through the history of Skeletor, you always had that power of Havoc in the face, that yellow. And this version of Skeletor, if you could get the camera a little bit closer, it's just like a white skull, which I think is really, really cool. But he's still an amazing Skeletor. All right. Of course, we're going to end this video, all right, with the last two figures of He-Man and Skeletor, which I brought together, and that's the Revolution Battle Armored version, and Skeletor in his cybernetic version from Motherboard. You can see the two styles right there. These two iconic figures here. Very cool. I always like this version of Skeletor. I think that's really cool. Now, like I said before in my previous review on this version of Skeletor, it would have been nice to have a blast effect for the Havoc Staff arm right there. Also, the crown right there doesn't stay put. Get a little closer. But other than that, I love the look, of this version of Skeletor. And the He-Man right here, the Battle Armored He-Man, I went ahead and used the 40th anniversary head sculpt, okay, on this version of He-Man, because I never liked that head sculpt that came with this particular Battle Armored He-Man. Of course, yes, there was another New Eternia Battle Armored He-Man with the beard, but history, for me, which is that version of Battle Armored He-Man, it looks amazing, and it's I never with the beard. It kind of to me it's kind of weird to me. I don't know why, but I always like the clean shaven, baby face version of He-Man right here. Of course, this version of Battle Armored He-Man, you can transform him to more of that iconic kind of 80s look if you wish. But come on, it's Battle Armored He-Man here. Of course, we are getting that Battle Armored Skeletor as well coming very soon, which I will put them together. Only thing about this particular He-Man is that I wish they would have found a way to, give us that iconic, press and play, version. We press the button and you can you can switch this to damage. Unfortunately, you have to, even with the Origins version of He-Man, you have to, of course, take the chest plate out and put a new one in, and it kind of, for me, kills the fun. All right. But there you go, guys. There's, I guess, the last two figures of He-Man and Skeletor from the Revolution line, and I'm kind of curious about if I'm sure there's gonna be a part 2 of the Revolution show. It kind of left us. If you watch the end credit scene of Revolution, I'm sure there would be a part 2 of this show. And I'm looking forward to, getting that, like I said, that God mode He-Man, that pure white, outfit of him. I can't wait to look at, I guess he's now, full Keldor again, I guess. And Skeletor's been, in a way, right now, been destroyed. But I'm looking forward to more He-Man figures, of course, more Skeletor figures like that Battle Armored Skeletor. I hope they give us a Dragon Blaster version of him. Terror Claws, Laser Light He-Man, from Origins and MasterVerse, and the laser-powered version of Skeletor. All right, but there you go, guys. There is a look of the history of every version of Skeletor and He-Man, MasterVerse, and let me know through the, for the whole series, which one is your favorite, versions of He-Man and Skeletor. All right, you can mix and match. Like you prefer the, the Viking He-Man with the, the cybernetic version of the Revolution Skeletor, So let me know in the comments below, what has been your, your favorite version of these two iconic figures over the years of MasterVerse. And I might do this with Origins as well. It's looking at the history of all the Origins, different versions of He-Man and Skeletor together, loose in the collection. All right. All right, of course, I'm going to take the time now, of course, to thank my subscribers. Thank you guys so much for joining me. If you made it this far in the channel and have not subscribed, please subscribe, guys. I love talking with you guys. Of course, all things Masters of the Universe, like the MasterVerse line here, like the Origins, like the Turtles of Grayskull, like the Cartoon Collection, like the CGI line. All right? Hit that like button. And thank you for doing that, guys. It means a lot to me. It helps my channel to get out there, to grow, for more people who absolutely love this amazing product like we do, to watch my videos and hopefully subscribe as well. So hitting that like button, guys, thank you so much. All right, it means a lot, so thank you. And hit that notification bell when you know of no new videos. And I think I'm gonna do on Monday. Okay, figures from the Origins line that I would love to see in the Cartoon Collection. These are figures that possibly are, I'm sure they'll be on their way at some point, but these are figures that we got in the vintage Origins line that I hope we will get in the Filmation style Cartoon Collection. All right, so I hope you stay tuned for that. Of course, share this video who has a passion and a love for collecting all things Masters of the Universe, like the MasterVerse line here. To the Origins, to the Vintage Origins line, to the Cartoon Collection, to the Turtles of Grayskull, to the Masters of the WWE Universe, to the Pure Superstars Wrestling line, to the 80s line, to the Classics, to Super 7, to Princess of Power, to 2000X, Mondo, Funko Pops, New Adventures as well. So guys, I hope you guys have a great Sunday, and I'll see you guys on Monday. Take care, guys, and have a good one.